Welcome to Sarnia, Ontario. Thanks for coming down today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kory. Kory's just going to kind of share with us a bit of information about Sarnia, Ontario, and there's kind of been some big, exciting new announcements as well.
Out of church, guys.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here with Kory MacKinnon, and today we're going to be checking out his 14-plex in London, Ontario.
I've been managing rental properties and owning properties for about 15 years now. How can you burr a fire? Well, this is how we burr a fire, right? If I rent this regularly, probably get $12.50 a month for it, and I've run the numbers on an Airbnb model. Airbnb, this should actually make over $30,000 a year, right?
Oils of being a landlord.
That's right, guys. So Coin Laundry doesn't pay for everything, but it pays for some things. Gas money, dinner.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and we're back with another great compilation video. Today's guest, today's star, is going to be Kory MacKinnon. So Kory's been around here for quite a while. If you guys don't remember, how I originally connected with him was right before OREC 2018, that big Canadian real estate conference, the Ontario Real Estate Conference that we held here in London, Ontario. It's been really fun getting to know Kory MacKinnon, learn from Kory MacKinnon, and just share experiences with him. And we've done a lot of YouTubes with Kory over the years, whether it's checking out his church, checking out some of his projects in Sarnia, and all kinds of other great tips and tricks. So in today's video, we're just going to kind of cover some of our favorite moments, as well as show you some moments you've never seen before because we dusted off the vault. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and let's jump into today's video.
So welcome to Sarnia, Ontario. Thanks for coming down today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kory. Kory's just going to kind of share with us a bit of information about Sarnia, Ontario, and there's kind of been some big, exciting new announcements as well.
Born and raised in Sarnia. I'm 42 years old right now, and Sarnia is a border city, so yeah. Literally, I don't know if you can see the Blue Water Bridge, but you know, we can get over to the Port Huron, Michigan in 5 minutes. But real estate in Sarnia has really been taking off the last, I'd say 2-3 years, but then in the last like 3-4 months, we had this announcement that everybody's been expecting for about 7 years now, with Nova Chemical doing their $2.2 billion expansion. So, inventories are very low, multiple bidding offers on pretty much everything, unless it's a total waste of time. But there's just new records being set in all different parts of town.
Awesome. And so otherwise, like maybe just some high level details for people that aren't familiar with Sarnia. You got like a population 70,000-80,000.
Yeah, population's kind of in the high 60s, low 70s. We never really know if we can rely on the sign here or not, based on the last census or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
Hugely driven by the petrochemical industry. So as you go downriver, you can actually see some of the stacks behind us here. Like my dad used to work at Dow Chemical.
Oh, okay,
there's Imperial Oil, there's Shell, there's Nova, so Lanxess. Petrochemicals and resins and
And as well, Sarnia does have a post-secondary institution.
It does.
The college.
It has a college here. I guess we have a lot of engineering firms, a lot of things that are being driven from the plants.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Thanks so much for kind of showing us around. You guys will see a lot more in the different videos that Peter and I have been shooting here in Sarnia, Ontario, and you're definitely going to see a lot more of Kory in the future as well. He's going to be one of our guest speakers at OREC 2018, so you guys can look forward to that. Start doing kind of a flash round of presentations. So we're going to be presenting a variety of different investing strategies. And so if you've watched my YouTube channel at all, you know I'm a huge fan of the Burr investing strategy.
So I've been burring even before it was even called burring. Started investing back in 2005, and I've done this a couple dozen times. Yeah. Show of hands, who here's never heard of burring? Who here does not know what burring is? It's okay, a lot of new people in the room. Okay. There's probably a lot of people in the audience here going like, well, how do you find these kinds of deals, right? Like, just like everybody else that's been up here in the front of the room that are finding deals, like it does take a lot of work. You need to be a detective and you need to be able to solve problems. But a lot of the properties that I picked up that I've heard, it's either like a poor marketing or mistakes in the ads, or it was a pocket listing that somebody just wanted to dump, or it was like a time frame motivation that you get rid of very quickly, right? So.
Yeah, private deals are a huge thing as well. I mean, we all know it's really difficult to find undervalued assets on the free market, so you need to start finding them privately, whether that's door knocking, whether that's joining private wholesale groups, like we got away from the back there. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to find private deals. My favorite is just your network. So talk to people, make sure everyone you know, your friends, your family, your Facebook friends, everyone knows that you're looking to buy real estate.
To get these, to be able to push the value of a property up, you need to look at, okay, how can I decrease the expenses and increase the rents of the property, right? Sometimes it's just putting in extra features in the property. I think we use an example of.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you guys. Next onto the stage, and it was kind of talked about right there, we got Kory MacKinnon, who was one of Stefan's students, and he's got an amazing story. You might have seen him a little bit on our social media, where he helps us out on our masterminds at the mansion. Has anybody seen those masterminds we've done?
How's everybody doing? What'd you guys have for lunch? Let's get some energy up here.
Come on, boys. Come on.
Too many carbs. I didn't have any carbs. I threw the bread away.
Thanks, buddy.
No, thank you for having me on the stage. The guys here asked me to talk about burring. It's a subject that I'm very passionate about. Who's got 1 or 2 or 3 properties already? I want to see who's already been doing some investing. Are some of those BRRRR type strategies? No? Okay, so who has never done a BRRRR? Who doesn't even know what the word BRRRR means? Okay, neither did I really until I started hanging out with these real estate rackpack guys. So I'm not a huge flipper. I do flip type work like Stefan was talking about. They're almost one and the same, but then I get to keep the property afterwards. And I want to show you guys some of my deals that I've actually done this and actually gotten a check back at the end of the deal. Who would like to buy a property, renovate it, rent it, refinance it, and then walk away with like a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 check? Pretty cool, eh?
That's awesome.
All right, so here's the triplex.
Oh shit!
Oh, shit. That was a quick drive. Yeah.
He wasn't joking when you said a stone throw.
It's a quick commute. So what happened here was this property, same height, but the upper unit was a really steep pitched roof, right? So we could only fit like a 1 bedroom in between the walls because there was like 4 feet of wasted space all the way around the unit. So what we decided to do is flatten it out, raise it up, keep the same height of the roof, which the city likes, and now we turn that 1 bedroom into a 3 bedroom.
Oh, wow.
The back here used to be a small, again, 450 square foot 1 bedroom. And I just said, okay, well, I don't know how much could we build back here, right? So we're going back 10 feet, over 5 feet, right up against the property line. So this is going to be a really big 2 bedroom unit. And I've run the numbers. You know, if I rent this regularly, probably get $1,250 a month for it, and I've run the numbers on an Airbnb model, so $1,250 a month over the course of a year, about 15 grand. On Airbnb, this should actually make over $30,000 a year, right? So I think Airbnb has it pegged at 33,000.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And then, so do you have all this available for parking, or how was this before?
Yep. This is all our backyard. So we typically use that for parking, and this is kind of like a right of way, and I maintain the whole parking lot. Nobody pays me for it because I'm, you know, the landowner over here, but it's all good. Probably could have gone even bigger off the back here, but it's like, you know, we want to do a renovation that was supposed to be fairly quick. It's been a year in the making. It's probably going to be like a year and 3 months until we get our occupancy permit, but because we got held up by an archaeological assessment. So in London, about 75% of London, if you do an addition, you'll trigger an archaeological assessment, which I was like, great, what is that? They're like, well, that's when you got to bring somebody in. They do 30-centimeter test holes. I think it's a couple feet deep, all over your property. And if they don't find more than 20 particles of significant data, which could be broken glass, broken plates, whatever, then you're fine. I guess one of our test holes found a 1940s smoke pipe and like 30 or 40 fragments. So they're like, now you got to go to stage 2. I'm like, great. How much is the stage 2? $5,500 extra. I'm like, great. Now I'm into this for like 8 grand. And the funny thing was, when I was getting quotes on those archaeological assessments, I called 3 different companies. I picked one of them, and I told the other one, I'm like, I'll let you know if we end up going ahead with you. That message didn't get communicated to his staff. He sent somebody here anyway. So we actually had 2 archaeological assessments done. One of them found some stuff, one of them didn't. The person I was paying found stuff. Should have used the other guy. We would have been way further ahead, but You guys got to, and this is why you got to buy profitable real estate, because when you're getting those kinds of hits, like, you guys got to have the yield, you got to have the profit margin to be taking those kinds of hits, right? So on this property here, fortunately, we're actually able to use the insurance money, which is over $300K, to do all the rebuild. And some of the extra things that I'm planning on doing, like this addition here and the extra square footage in the top of the building, so to add 3 extra bedrooms only costs us 80 grand. So you think about what that 80 grand is going to do, the rent roll, it's going to be huge. It's actually, by spending that 80 grand, we're banking on, we've done the numbers and the appraisals, this property is going to go up in value by $200,000. So we should actually be walking away with a check, you know, from doing these strategic renovations, right? So Burr method, how can you burr a fire? Well, this is how we burr a fire, right?
Love it. And so, did you mention, like, how did the fire actually start? Was it just a tenant, or?
It was electrical. Oh, okay. So even though the wiring had been upgraded in this house, there was still a couple odd runs of knob and tube, and it was like the coldest day of the year, so I don't know if that had something to do about it. Okay. But something caught, and the fire actually started right over here. Basically where the door is for this unit, the fire started up there in the attic. Okay. So still able to get insurance claim money on it, which was awesome, and we'll show you what we're doing on the main floor. So I think they're drywalling upstairs. Oh look, this is how you find out what the code is to the lockbox. Oh, they didn't spin any of the numbers. Awesome. Hello. How's it going? I'm the homeowner. Yeah, just seeing how things are going. All right, so pretty much keeping the footprint of this unit the same. Funny, that back unit that we're doing the addition on, that washroom actually stole some square footage from this unit, so we got rid of that. And these 2 bedrooms, this was a 3-bedroom unit, so these 2 bedrooms were always small. I was always struggling to rent these like 9 by 10 bedrooms with like no closet. And so now that we had an extra 5 feet to play with, I'm like, nope, they're gonna be like 12 by 10, and they're both gonna have closets, right? So that's been great. So we'll have bigger rooms with bigger closets. Opened it up. So this used to be really compartmentalized. The kitchen was like right here. So we put this beam in, which cost us extra money, but it's totally worth it to structure, you know, re-support the load. We're gonna do open concept kitchen with a bar. Everybody's gonna be sitting at this, you know, island for eating purposes. And we're thinking couch right here. There's electrical on that wall right there, so people are going to be sitting here watching their TV. If that layout doesn't work, then you can put a couch up against their bar stools and game and do whatever they want right there. To do HVAC in this house was going to be a huge pain in the butt afterwards, with just all the fire separations, and like I literally got 3 different opinions from 3 different people of like what it was going to take to do the HVAC on this property. So we end up going with hot water heat. So the hot water heat is roughed in right now. Then that gives you another problem. Well, what do we do about air conditioning? So we're doing ductless splits, and they just punch that in. That's what this is for. We went oversized just so it will definitely support the size of the unit. This is a 1,000 square foot unit, so we got 3 bedrooms in this unit. We are going to perhaps experiment with what John's doing down in Windsor, furnish them, because I have good connections with furnishings. And we're literally going to put it online for $750, $800 a room. It's in Old North. We'll see how that works. If it doesn't, we'll just go back to traditional model. So yeah, try something a little bit new. But I think kids will eat this up. Good sized rooms. Students tend to camp out in their rooms anyways. This is whenever we have a 3-bedroom unit, typically we do go for students. We go for upper year students. We always get parents to guarantor on their rents and their leases. And you know, you set the expectations high in the beginning, so then they don't try to take advantage of anything later on. We got in-suite laundry here now, which is great. Nice sized bathroom. New windows.
And so how scary is it going through the insurance process?
It was kind of nerve-wracking, man. Like, I'd never had an insurance claim. Fortunately, I don't want to have too many more. But I use really good insurance companies. So this just goes to show that like the lowest price is not the best price. So I don't mind paying a moderate fair market value for insurance to make sure that if something ever does happen, that they're going to be fair if there's a claim. You know, so this was a plaster house. They literally paid me to replace it in plaster, which will help me when it comes time for like, oh yeah, now there's all kinds of code upgrades, which wasn't included in my premium, right? Kind of balances each other out.
At the start of 2016, 4 years ago, I literally was a ghost on social media. Back in 2016, no one knew who I was. No one other than maybe my parents and best friends knew I was a real estate investor.
In my real estate business now, I legit only sell on social media. I do not sell anything else. I don't care about a sign. I don't print off any pieces of paper and hand it to you. Only social media. I've built my entire real estate agent business off social media.
Over the course of one single Instagram live video where I was walking through a property, I was actually able to raise $80,000.
Today, 4,000 to 5,000 people watch me every single day on YouTube. 1,000 people will watch my stories on Instagram. You know, over 500 will watch my stories on Facebook. I just envision that as, how could I possibly talk to 5,000 people a day one-on-one?
People lend me money for my real estate investments. If you didn't know, myself and Matt McKeever are in the apartment buying business right now, and we're buying a lot of units. So people lend us money for renovations, for deposits, and we pay interest on that. And I often share the interest payments on Instagram, which leads to more people reaching out to me wondering how they can get involved. And because of that, I was able to raise almost $1 million within the last 90 days.
Basically taking this business from zero to now we've done over $1.4 million in sales this year, and it's all been through social media. I've been actually able to attract all 6 of my top performing wholesalers and my back of house staff through social media, okay? All of it has been done through there and by showing the process.
The printing press, tele and radio communications, the internet, and then social media. These are the 4 big media revolutions that just changed the game as we know it. And right now, I'm in a giant land grab to try and get my hands on as much of the social media attention world as possible.
If you guys are not on social media, you have to do it. I don't care if you're a restaurant, you're an insurance agent, you're a real estate agent, you need to be on social media. It's the easiest way to branch out and talk to so many people.
If there was only one thing I could tell you guys, the one thing I would tell you is start today. Okay, yesterday was the best time to start. In fact, when you first even thought about your business idea, that was the best time to start. But the next best time is right now. If you start posting and start publishing your story today, I guarantee you, you will have results from social media so long as you stay consistent. So come and get your social proof.
All right, guys, so we're at 346 Piccadilly Street here. This is another private deal. So bought this on the market 7-ish years ago, and actually paid a healthy dollar for it because I saw the vision of what it could be like in 10 years from now. So probably the first 5 years we bought it, hadn't had any renovations done since like the 60s, and we moved walls, we redid kitchens, bathrooms, floors, everything. Raised the rent roll, and then some of the funding rules changed in Canada and things got tighter, so we couldn't refinance out our money, so we held on to it and just kept riding it out. Raised the rents, which definitely helped anyway, so we got that pop in rent, which is awesome. And then just always thinking like, what else could we do, what else could we do? We rent storage space in the basement, we rent storage space in the garage, we have coin laundry, and we charge for internet here. So lots of different ways that we're making money. So how about we go show you guys a couple things.
And do you mind talking us through, like, what do you charge for the storage in the basement or for internet? Or
Yeah, it's not huge, but I think you got to look at this on a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year basis. Like I've had the same guy rent in the garage for $75 a side, so $150 a month, $1,800 a year, times 3 years. I mean, that pays for some things, right? That's like vacation money and other kinds of stuff too, right? So basement's only like $50. Internet, everybody contributes like $25 to it. So it's and it helps us rent our units quicker, and people love that. Internet's like the new heat, and everybody needs that in Canada. So purchase price was $360, and we put, in the first year we dumped about 70 into it, so we were well over 400, and it'll appraise kind of in the high 400s now. But it's, again, I saw this as one of those hold forever type properties, and I don't mind paying full price for it to get into it because it had a lot of potential and was in a great neighborhood too. So yeah, We got a 2-bedroom plus a den on the main floor. We have a 3-bedroom upstairs, and we got a 1-bedroom off to the side. Yeah, so this is the garage that actually the past owner, she actually rented it back from me for 2 years. Gave her a really reasonable rate on that, and then when she left, I actually rented it to my contractor who renovated the place for 2 years, and then after that it was vacant. We just put an ad on the internet. Again, right time of the year, good descriptions and pictures, good location, it's central. Renting it out to an electrician now, so he keeps his tools and supplies and Harleys and Corvettes and stuff in there that, you know, he just doesn't want to keep at his house, I guess. So this is the place here. That's the 1-bedroom at the back. Tom's been here for like 11 years or 12 years. He was already here before I bought the place. So, and we've had the same group of students upstairs now for, this is going on 3 years, and we continue to raise their rents and stuff and charge them for parking and all kinds of extra stuff. So.
And so how do you approach these properties that you've accumulated a decent portfolio now? Do you refinance them whenever they come up, or how do you decide which ones to refinance, or do you pay any off in full? Like, are you working towards paying some off?
Yeah, good question. I think it's important to have, I was just explaining this to someone the other day, I think it's important to have reserves. I think it's important to not always be maxing out, you know, and refinancing every single time you absolutely can. In the beginning I was, but I think as you, over time, and your portfolio gets bigger and you want to get into some bigger buildings, they're going to be looking at how much equity you have, right? Lots of lenders have certain equity criteria that they want you to hit. So we try to stay in that, like, you know, how much equity, you know, 30 to 50% equity range. So we're not always maxed out at all our different properties. So we top up as we feel prudent and need be. So maybe it might not be every 5-year cycle or every 3-year cycle, but for sure every other one. Holding something all in cash, I think you're losing some big advantages when money is fairly cheap right now, and it's your biggest tax write-off is your debt on your property. So as long as you're being smart about it, I think it's very important to be smart. I don't go out and get second mortgages and this and that and leverage it to like 90, 95, 100%. I think that's dangerous because you just have one little hiccup in the market and you're smoked. So yeah, buy and sale is very important, but try to buy privately if you can, buy creatively if you can. And this was like a pocket listing from my realtor. He had been working on with this lady for years trying to list her property. I was one of his best investors and got the first kick at it and just ran with it. So we're able to get Coin Laundry just in the back here. Again, good quality machines. These are German made, Hipsch. I'm a big fan. They never break down. And
$500-600 a pop, or
I got these used for $800. The person drove them down from Kitchener, and I did the math on them. We paid them off in like 1 year, so it's a no-brainer. So, and again, it's not a huge money maker, but when you look at it over a 10-year period, I mean, it definitely covers your water bill for sure. Saves your utilities. It's not a free-for-all. I've bought houses where people were like, just had regular laundry machines, and then it's like they're calling up their friends saying, hey, there's free laundry here, like come bring your laundry over too, and it doesn't make any sense. So
particularly when you look at like over a portfolio wide, right? If you have a dozen of these machines.
Oh, for sure. I actually brought my bucket that I'm going to take to the bank here today. If you guys want to see what, $700 in coins for 1 or 2 months looks like or whatever, but.
Oils of being a landlord.
That's right, guys. So Coin Laundry doesn't pay for everything, but it pays for some things: gas money, dinner, whatever. So, but I know why the big high rises, why they go to cards and stuff, because then they just don't have to deal with theft. Or luckily my properties are in good neighborhoods, but I mean, stuff happens, and I know other landlords in bigger buildings in different parts of town where they're definitely worried about security and stuff. So
what is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here with Kory MacKinnon, and today we're going to be checking out his 14-plex in London, Ontario. I'm really excited. It's a massive building, fantastic location. Let's dive into it.
Oh yeah, one thing we had to do here was parking. Parking was always a pain point at this building, so we actually worked with the city. We heard of another landlord in the area that was doing it's kind of like a permit, but you literally get parking passes from the city, and if someone doesn't have that parking pass in their car, the city can ticket them. So we're like, awesome, what do we got to do? They're like, you just need to get signage done and pay for the signs, pay for the little tags that you hang in your car, and then we'll literally monitor the property, or you call us and we'll ticket the car. So we're like, cool. So now we can actually create and own the ecosystem here. I'm like, don't call us about a parking problem. You call the city and they'll come and ticket that person. And lots of LED lights around the building, because you gotta watch all the dollars and cents, right? So if you have lights in common areas, you should probably be going for LED. And if you don't have coin laundry, then it turns into a free-for-all. So this property could probably use a second set of coin washer dryers, but right now it works, and that's all we're worried about. So I'll take you guys around to some of the different parts of it here. So everything needs a system, right? We got garbage, and it's all assigned. Some people put their own locks on the call this the garbage doghouse. Okay, so it's not cheap to build because it's all plywood construction and everything, but if you don't have it, then it's just like it's a free-for-all. We do discount somebody's rent by $15 a week. Just get the garbage to the curb. That would be awesome. We're actually thinking about getting one of those big round pods that are like recessed into the ground to do garbage and stuff, but we got to get that figured out. So this is working for now. Recycling is also working too. So we'll take you up maybe one of the hallways here. So that's its own apartment there. This one here literally takes you up into a 3-bedroom unit. We rent it to students right now. That's getting $600 a bedroom. And then this one here takes you up into a bunch of different apartments. Okay, here's those house rules we were talking about. So if anybody wants copies of these, just send me an email. We'll let you guys know what we do. Make sure that you have like fire code. Fire code's really important. You gotta have your exit lights, you gotta have your fire extinguishers always charged up and inspected every year, and all your smokes have to be working and interconnected too. So there's gotta be, once you get over a 4-plex, like your compliance for fire code just increases much more, right? So that's it there, guys, for this one. We'll take you back to a cool rooftop patio. Have you guys ever seen a flat roof before?
Couple times. But
yeah, you gotta make sure these guys are always not blocked. Yeah. I think, what was it? I was watching a YouTube video one time, and they're like, you gotta get covers from them because there's the king cans. A king can actually get down this hole and plug it up or something like that. And right now we got the covers on it.
yeah.
But yeah, they're basically tar and gravel. I'm not sure the different ways to do flat roofs. I know you got the white membrane, you got the tar and gravel approach. Maybe you guys can comment and let us know which one's the cheaper, more reasonable way that lasts longer. But you also get the drainage that goes right into the drainage system for the house. So this is probably a stack that's going right through somebody's apartment. Yeah, guys, but it doesn't look pretty. We're slowly doing things here. Like we did half that roof there, not the other half of the roof. We replaced all the windows. Still need some paint. We got to do that back staircase there. But we're way over the hump for the work that needs to be done. Yeah, so that's the place.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here with Kory MacKinnon. We're in London, Ontario, actually downtown London, Ontario. We're checking out a really unique building, and it's got a really unique backstory on how you kind of got involved with this building as well, right, Kory?
It does, yeah.
So do you mind breaking that down for us?
Sure. So I've been managing rental properties and owning properties for about 15 years now, and my good friend of mine, a realtor of mine, was struggling with this property. He'd put it under management with other people, and that wasn't going very well. So he was actually thinking about selling the building. And I said, well, instead of like killing the goose that lays the golden eggs every month, why don't we try to do some work together here? Let me help you stabilize the building, and I'll do that for you if you'll, give me first right of refusal to buy in as a partner, right? But let me do my job first. Let me get the rents up, get the stabilize the tenant base, and then we'll continue that conversation, which we're at that point now. So
yeah, and I just love the creativity behind it, right? A lot of real estate investors struggle with the idea of, if I don't have a ton of money or a ton of experience, how can I break into the game? And particularly, like, this is a 14-plex that we're standing in right now. So it's one of those things I think a lot of people watch my YouTube channel.
it's an aspirational goal, but it's very difficult for them to envision it as a realistic goal.
That's right.
And so you were saying before we kind of turned on the cameras that there's a great opportunity that you can offer to property manage for people, learn their business model, get them to kind of like know you, like you, trust you, and then at that time you can often kind of step in and either become part of their long-term plan for their disposal or maybe buy in and partner with them.
Exactly, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have either money, we have time, or we have effort and energy, right? So at this point, I had maybe a little more time or the resources to help manage this, right? And for people out there, they're like, I can't find deals, I don't have money. Everybody can make time. You can't make excuses around time. I have 4 kids at home and multiple businesses, and I'm also national level athlete as well. So you all can make the time for the things you want to do. Simply, we lots of times we just don't make the time. So you can make the time to go and like apprentice under like a big property management company and learn the skill of property management, so now you can actually go and put that into someone else's business that needs it. There's opportunities everywhere, you just got to be looking for them.
Yeah, I love that. I've always thought if I was to start over again and let's say I had none of my connections, none of my experience, none of my knowledge, starting at a property management company would be great because you're going to learn the business inside and out, but you're also going to be dealing with owners quite often. And so owners eventually someday may become sellers, and it can be a great deal pipeline opportunity. In fact, a lot of my wholesalers now that live with me in the mansion, we're constantly hitting up local property management firms just to try and like build that relationship, build that rapport, and potentially if and when one of their owners decides to sell, hopefully they think of us.
That's right. You know, I'd rather have I'd rather have 7 units in a 14-unit building, and once we do all the share sale and figure out the corporate structure, if he ever does want to sell his other half, it'll be a lot easier. It'll just be like, you know, a very small amount of work as opposed to getting it done the first time. So I'd rather have half of something big than all of something smaller.
So what does stabilizing a building like this look like? Like what did you kind of come in and start changing or doing to get it up to a better, more effective use?
Sure. So when we started managing the property, there was like very few rules around garbage, parking, noise, smoking, all that sort of stuff. So we just came in. We always observe for like the first month, and we're just like, okay, I'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt first, and we're just going to observe. And we do know who the key people are in the building that we need to watch, and who are our eyes on the ground as well. So we're like, just give us intel. Give us intel, and then we'll always be asking the person like, hey, did that happen? What's going on, right? So we're looking at who's, you know, where the information's coming from. You got to kind of be a detective sometimes without having to put up security cameras and all that sort of stuff. So we always get the information first, and then we start to just implement our rules. And we're always like firm and fair, but it's like, look, we can't be making side deals for everybody, or like you can do this, but you know, you don't have to do it kind of thing. There has to be law and order, and I like what Adam Kitchener said is like, you know, there's only a few rules, right? Pay rent on time, don't do any damage to the property, and be good to your neighbors, like don't make noise and all that kind of stuff, right? So if you keep it simple like that, then, you know, it's the fewer the rules. I find it, especially as my family grows, you gotta have fewer rules, right? If you ever talk to people that have triplets or quintuplets, it's like we have very few rules in the house. You know, the food's gotta get down your mouth, and like we gotta have fun. So, you know, the same thing with the property here. So some of the units were under rented. Some of the units did have some characters that were borderline, you know, not following like the right side of the law. So we eventually got them out by N5ing enough times, and they'll just be like, this landlord's not giving up. So you gotta have a presence at the property. Like lots of times people struggle with their properties because there's no leadership of the property. They never see the landlord, and they never see like anything ever getting cleaned up if there ever was an issue or like a problem that needs to be fixed, right? So we want to make sure we're responsive and we have a presence, and that there's no messing around. Like, you know, these are the rules, and if you're not following the rules, then it's not going to be a pleasant situation for people to keep staying here. So
yeah, and those like small changes, like making sure garbage is managed and noise is managed, slowly over time your profile of tenant's going to drastically improve, rents are going to increase, it's just going to become a more desirable property overall.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like our tenants, we want to look for working class that just want to come home from working all day, either their 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, and they just want to enjoy their unit without lots of noise and stuff like that, right? So that's what we're doing.
Awesome, love it. And so right now we're standing in a unit that just recently came up vacant, a little bit under rent. You're currently in the process of turnover, and so you're now going to be able to increase the rents?
That's right. I think we got an example here. So This unit was probably, and this was a rent rate that was set like 7 years ago, so we were at probably $200 undervalued, and London's had great appreciation in rents in the last 3 years, so you got to be prepared for that. And when people are doing these, sometimes people don't think like, well, 50 bucks, 25 bucks, it doesn't matter. I'm not, you know, and again, I'm not going to fight tooth and nail for every single dollar, because as you have more units, you got to pick and choose your battles. You know, for me, if I'm fighting for top dollar, which I used to do when I only had like 5 or 10 doors on every single re-rental, I'm like, you know what, I'll give somebody a deal by 25 or 50 bucks sometimes, just for speed and velocity and get it done, and have that choice of the litter of who we want to work with. But when it's $200 a month, $2,400 a year at a 5.5 cap rate, which we're right downtown, which is a reasonable cap rate, I mean, we just raised the value of the building by $43,000, right? So even something smaller, right? If we're, you know, if we're fighting for $75 a month, because now we're switching from electric heat, which a lot of these units have, to like gas heat. Now we can say, look, like your total cost of ownership or renting is going to be lower, so the rent's going to go up a little bit. That also changes the value of the building by like over $16,000. So there's opportunities anywhere, and the bigger the building, you have more touch points for those opportunities.
Yeah, and so this building, is it currently electric heat?
Yes.
Yeah, and so are you guys looking at turning it over, or what's that look like?
We do want to, and probably the easiest way that we could do that is there's not even a gas meter in the house right now. There's never been a need for one. It's like electric heat and also electric water heaters too, which are like massive kettles, which are just like, an electric kettle is expensive. So what we could do is get in some big fast cycling hot water gas tanks, and off those gas tanks you can usually run some extra hot water rads. I think off each one you can do 3. So that if we get 3 hot water tanks in here, we could probably like get gas heat to 3 units that are all close to the mechanical room, and that'll be a start. And then over time, you know, we'll get a boiler system in here and we'll run the lines, and it's probably gonna be like 50 to 80 grand. But that's a long-term investment. When you're making moves like this, all you have to do is do this play twice. Now you got money to do your boiler system for the whole place, right? So that's the cool thing about owning rental property, is once you have some equity in it and you're doing things that will raise the value of the property, you have the margin to do these improvements.
Yeah, love it. So if people at home are watching this and they're thinking, this sounds amazing, you know, Kory found this opportunity to do property management, kind of lock in the price at the, you know, 2 years ago versus, and kind of gain the benefit of appreciation over time, how would you recommend someone start that conversation? Like, how do you approach that subject with someone if you're interested in either earning your way into their property or eventually getting the option to buy in?
Yeah, great question. So in life, everybody, you got to follow the motivation. Okay, so it's very difficult to have that conversation with somebody when things are easy peasy and they're like, I'm managing my properties from my cell phone, everything's perfect. Probably not the great opportunity, but when you have someone that's struggling with it, it's just not their right personality type. You know, we have manager type personalities, we have really entrepreneurial, like high level, like they see the opportunities and the vision, but they don't like to do all the day-to-day implementation. Then you also have like the really like granular nitty-gritty, like the people that are like, I like to work the tools and just like, I'm the implementer and I'm the tradesperson, right? So when you have the right personality type that struggles with leadership and management, that's where the opportunity comes in. Like they're struggling and they'll give up half their value because you're gonna raise the value anyways. The buy-in's not gonna be as much because now, I mean, I've made him 200 grand anyways, right? So you're just showing the value proposition time and time again, but you do need to look for the motivation. And if you think these numbers are too big, then just take a 0 off it, okay? Like go find like a rundown $140,000 duplex in a super value-based city. I mean, the opportunities are there. You might look on the internet and find some of their ads and it's like, whoa, they're actually bad pictures and bad decor and paint jobs and all that sort of stuff. These people need my help for property management.
Yeah, love it. That's a great tip. Just kind of go through Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, look for properties that appear to be under rented, maybe mismanaged, and why not just reach out to that owner and see if there's a win-win opportunity.
My favorite is when you got the old European, I hate the stereotype, but they literally just have for rent on a sign in the front lawn. That's not how business is done. Business hasn't been done like that for 15 or 20 years. So.
Yeah.
But opportunities are everywhere, people. You just literally got to turn your brain onto them, okay? You got to be like, instead of like, on Instagram every 5 minutes, which you should be if you're following these guys, but, you know, be out there being mindful and saying, like, I want to go see these opportunities, right? Maybe one day we can actually shoot a video where we're just driving around. I'm like, look at that, look at that, look at that. Like, my brain is turned on for opportunities. Your brain is turned on for opportunities. You guys need to turn your brains on for opportunities like this.
What's up, guys? Matt here. Have you ever wanted to do wholesaling? Have you ever wanted to go all in on real estate investing? Well, I've heard your demands from the comment section on my YouTube video, and we're looking to hire more people to join our team. Now, this is going to be a unique opportunity. It definitely, you're going to need to fit outside of the traditional mold, but if you're willing to go all in on real estate investing, learn everything and do everything necessary to become a successful wholesaler, and you're willing to move to London, Ontario, and move into one of the mansions with me, well, let's do it. So we've got a process for you guys to be able to join our team of wholesalers. Right now, I have 7 full-time wholesalers working for me in southwestern Ontario, but we actually want to grow the team even more, a lot more in fact. But the requirements are you need to be willing to go all in. So no other jobs, no side hustles, no other personal commitments. You just need to be laser-like focused on real estate and learning and personal development, because that's what this mansion's all about. In addition, you need to be willing to move to London, Ontario. I don't care where you currently live, but you need to be willing to move to London, Ontario. You need to be eligible to work in Ontario, all that good stuff. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. We're just looking for really dedicated, really hungry individuals that want to join our team. If you want to apply, send us an email, clickwholesaling@gmail.com. You're probably going to spell click wrong, so we're throwing it up here on the screen. We'll also have a link in the video description down below. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, guys. You've seen the evolution of Adam Martin from my team over the years. He joined us back in 2018, and he knew nothing about real estate investing. He'd never made an offer, never bought real estate, never made a dollar off of real estate, and today he's absolutely crushing it. I know there's a lot of people that aspire to be the next Adam Martin. As well, you've seen the evolution of Mike and Shahir from my team and how they've grown as individuals and wholesalers as well. In fact, we've even got a whole new crop of wholesalers that you really haven't seen yet on the YouTube channel, but they'll be coming soon to a video on your news feed. But beyond that, we need more wholesalers. This is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you're serious about going all in on wholesaling real estate, I need you to join my team. Click the link down below, send us an email, and I look forward to chatting.
So when you do buy a church, you have to be mindful, or any property that needs to be totally redeveloped. I've just made some lists here and some notes of some of the benefits and some of the challenges, because I guess this is going to be a massive burr, and we need to make sure there's no sense in doing something unless you're going to be profitable. So there's definitely some benefits of working within the existing structure. So now that we've had the engineering done and we know we can actually build up and build over, and the city has approved the plan and the concept, now we've actually got to put some, you know, this is where the rubber meets the road per se, right? Really positive community response. I mean, who wants to tear down a church that's been around for over 50 years? Not me. And I felt I didn't even want to get demolition quotes, and we didn't really want to work with builders that couldn't work within the existing structure. So, you know, the cost per square foot can really decrease, okay, because you've already got all the walls up, a lot of the framing up, the hydro's already in there. Some of the mechanicals are going to be able to be reused. Some, you know, be repurposed and stuff. There's a lot of extra building material and space in there, so that's definitely positive. Like our price per square foot for people that are really into that, you know, when you build a new home, you're usually, I mean, you can't really get much of a home these days for under $200,000 a square, or under $200 a square foot. So our average price on repurposing this building is probably going to be around that $140 to $150 per square foot, which is reasonable. And I think the reason why most investors, even if they have $5 or $10 million in the bank, they're not building apartment buildings because, number one, they can't get the land. Number two, when you actually figure out like your construction costs, it's outrageous. Like, it doesn't make any sense unless you go to like cement construction and you can build up and you have probably 100 units. I'm not sure. So for here, it does make sense, but the numbers still are tight, and we got to make sure that we're working on a budget. More impact. So we're not going to be recycling a whole bunch of material into a dump. We can reuse most of things on the building. And because of all these different things, the purchase price was reasonable. Okay, like these things don't trade for millions of dollars unless you're downtown Toronto. We got the property at a reasonable price. But again, problems are profits. There are going to be some challenges here too. Finding contractors that can do the work. I mean, you're playing in the upper echelon of contractors, and then what contractors have actually worked within walls of buildings like this before. We found a great group that's worked on a lot of schools and other things before, so looks like we're probably going to be, you know, highly entertaining their building quote, which is great. Your time at City Hall, you're going to be spending a lot more time at City Hall, a lot more time with studies and plans and projections and all those different things, like, and everything wanted like $3,000 to $5,000 checks. It was, you know, just to get the zoning changed, okay? Studies and reports. Unexpected challenges, you know, we just had a new challenge today, so now we got to pivot and shift and go, okay, what direction are we going to go in now? So you have to be fully prepared for challenges. And probably longer construction time, even though the walls are already up, the foundation's already done. Now they need to, it's almost like they're reconstructing something with plastic surgery as opposed to just starting new again, okay? And a lot of builders like to just start new again because it's really the path of least resistance. They know their time frames, they can build a building in 3, 4, 5 months. Whereas I think here, it's going to be a lot more of a delicate process, and maybe multiple contractors can't be working at the same time. So those are the pros and cons of a church. You got to make sure your numbers make sense. We're going for 1-bedroom apartments here, not 2 or 3-bedroom apartments. We just felt that was the best and highest use of this building. So this is where you Sunday services. Get some lights on here. We've been selling off church pews. Half of them are gone. So this is kind of like the size of one of the apartments. This is going to be like a 550 square foot apartment.
Yeah. So what are some of the first things you look at, Kory, when looking at buying a church?
I think you got to treat it like any building that if you're looking to repurpose the building, you got to think, okay, does it lend itself easily to some sort of a new floor plan? And this church is built more like a school, so it's very boxy and very blocky. It's not like your typical high steeples and those kinds of things. It's again, it's built really utilitarian-like, right? So it was easy to lay out. When we had this sent off to a planner, they came up with some designs that worked out really well for the apartment sizes we were looking for. So. But I guess you got to look at anything you'd look at with any house, right? You got to look at the basics. You know, how's the foundation? How's the roof? You know, we actually had to have an engineer come here and look at the footings and see if we could actually build up, because it's not quite high enough here to do 2 stories. We're about 3 feet short, so we're going to have to either jack up the ceiling or blow off the ceiling altogether and start over again, right? To get that extra 8 apartments in above here. Zoning's very important too. We had to make sure that. It kind of fit within the city plan. We had a pre-consultation meeting with the city just to say, hey, does this even make sense, right? So, sure. So this is what our architects came up with. Anything white is the existing church. It stops right there. We went in through this door and we're basically standing right here right now. And again, since it's not tall enough for 2 stories, we need to raise the roof here. So anything brown is an addition up or an addition over. So we have a large parking lot on the west side here, and we're going to do 3 units, 3 units, 3 units, so a total of 9 over here on this addition. And then by being able to build up, we're going to have basement level units, main floor units, and then second floor units, as well as elevators and everything else. There's a lot of stuff here at play. Here's the interior floor plan. It's pretty hard to tell, but that's like 1 apartment, 1 apartment, 1 apartment.
And so this involves an elevator?
Yeah, if we want to have accessible units or any units for disabled, then we need to make sure that we have some sort of an elevator.
Do you know, have you started looking into costs? Like, what's the ballpark there?
We don't need like a full-blown elevator. Like, I think we're looking into like the 4x4 elevators where it's like somebody in a wheelchair and their care provider can be like in there and you kind of like close the door yourself and scoot yourself up. So I think I think they're kind of in the $50,000 to $75,000 range, and it's just that ongoing quarterly cost to maintain them though, which is you have to factor that into as well. Here's the city plan, so it shows like the different zoning for what's around us, and there are some 3-story walk-ups just down the street, right? So it's not like what we were asking for was unheard of, and it did fit it pretty nicely into the city's plan. So the city was very receptive to it, and then it went to a council meeting once we paid all of our zoning fees, and we jumped through all the different things that the city was looking for to get to the starting line. It was well received, and now we're at the point with, let's actually get some building quotes and decide what direction we're going to go in. This was the first church. So this church was built in 2 stages. So back in, I believe, 1959. And then 3 years later, they built extra onto it. So if we go up this way, they needed some daycare, I guess we should get some lights on here. So we got room. So this is where they used to do more of the Sunday school, and I think one of these was a daycare room. They left a few pianos up here, so I think they must have been doing some music lessons and things like that too. So yeah, guys, it just keeps going. We got 12,000 square feet, and the plan is we're probably going to end up doubling the square footage.
And so do you have to move pretty fast on this?
Yes, we had to move fast. We also had to move fast as well with because it was zoned as a duplex. So if we want to turn this into multifamily residential, then we had to get that zoning, and we wanted to do it before the city council turned over. So it's just always best once you get a property. It's like, hey, let's get moving on it. And we jumped through all the hoops necessary to be able to sit in front of that city council and talk to them about our plan, which ended up getting approved. So now we're approved for 32 units. They were just asking that we didn't max out the height restrictions. That was their big thing. They didn't want something way, way taller than the rest of the neighborhood. Yeah, so let's take you guys into the basement where the gym used to be. Some retro light fixtures here.
Oh yeah.
Lots of bathrooms in here. We got 5 bathrooms. This is like their gym area. So this will end up being a couple apartments over here and over here. But at the end of the day, if people aren't good with visualizing things, it's like make your own floor plan, right? Like just make your own topographical floor plan and get some dimensions and see, okay, like a bachelor unit is probably going to be 400 square feet. 1 bedroom is probably going to be like anywhere between 550 and 800 square feet, maybe 700. Like a 2-bedroom could be 750 to 1,000, 3-bedroom, 1,000 and up kind of thing. Just some really rough ballparks, but. And there's a big kitchen over here too. They don't build things like they used to, right? Wood's not like the way wood used to be either. It's super quiet in here. Sometimes I just come in here to work. Whatever room in here, I'm not really sure what they use this for, but.
So now that you've bought a church, with hindsight, are there lessons you've learned now that when you go to buy the next church, you'd approach it differently, or?
I don't think so. I think we had a pretty solid plan and a pretty solid team. I bought this with a partner, so it's always great to be able to share the workload and have two heads thinking of different things, and everybody brings their own resources to the table and their own skill sets to the table, which is great too. Maybe the only one change I would have done was maybe decommission it. Like we would have just turned off the water, gas, heat, hydro, everything right away, because we paid for that through a winter, and it was probably just money that we didn't need to spend. So, but yeah, I think we acted on it pretty quickly, and we put the plan together pretty quickly and explored a bunch of different options, which was great. So.
And so the partner you have on this project, have you guys worked on other things in the past, or was this the first time?
We had we've had a past working relationship, but never buying real estate together. So.
And so how do you approach a project and a partnership for this size of project that could take years to see all the way down? How important is it to iron out, a roadmap or exit plans?
High level, just make sure that you guys both have unique strengths, and because if you're a clone of each other, then people are always going to have a blind spot, right? So, or weaknesses versus strengths. So I think it's important to work together with people that, first of all, you want to work with, that have similar mindsets. And I think having that delayed gratification mentality is very important too. We're not just looking at this as a 1-year thing. We're looking at this as a 20, 30-year-old thing, or eventually we're going to be, handing this apartment building down to our children or something like that, right? So, they have a long-term focus as well, which is great. So that's what I like too. And I think your results will speak for themselves too, right? People aren't going to want to partner with people that aren't, leveling up to their level of expertise or skill set too. So it's important, and that's why it pays to work hard and make a name for yourself and do things right and have a great reputation, because then people won't have issues in a partnership. All right, so we're on the outside of the church right now, just to give you a little bit of the landscape. So these parking lot here, these are ours, so it goes back that way, goes back around the corner. It also goes around the back of the church here too, which is where I'll show you where we're going to do the addition for the extra 9 units. So follow us. There's obviously going to be setbacks, right? You need to be certain ways away from your neighbor. Residential construction is a lot different than commercial construction, so I think it's 15 feet from this fence. But we're going to be kind of over here. And it's right here. Addition. A big open area. We'll be utilizing all these parking spots here, but that's why I want to engage someone on your team that has that kind of specialty, right? Like the architects, they looked at the floor plan, they're like, this is the highest and best use, do the addition over here, right? So like our original concept was different what they came up with, which was kind of cool. Okay guys, so this is the outside of the church here. It's all block construction. When you peel off pieces of the siding there, you'll see it's just cylinder block. So really strong construction, we can build on top of it. There's the strength there, so I'm looking forward to breaking ground next spring.
Awesome. When you guys originally bought it, did you already know kind of the number of units you thought you could place, or was it a big range?
We had an idea of what we could do existing, like within the existing structure. So whether it was going to be 2 bedrooms or 1 bedrooms, we knew we were kind of around that dozen, like 12 to 16, depending on how small we made the units. We just weren't sure what we could do if we started lifting roofs off and doing additions and building out more, just to make sure we still had the parking requirements. Because when you're dealing with apartment buildings or any income property, whether it's a duplex, triplex, or 50plex, you need to make sure you have certain parking requirements, and that's based on your city and municipality, which is really important too.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. And again, thanks to Kory MacKinnon for taking the time to shoot all these amazing videos. But a reminder, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to amazing compilation videos on my YouTube channel. Check out this playlist right here, or if you just want other great Canadian content, check out that playlist. And I'll see you guys in the next video.